Hi guys, and welcome to episode 2
Straight
of the NEIGHBOURS
back in.
podcast.
You've done it again. Second week in a row. Pestily, boys.
So, Michael,
Yes.
we've just filmed a video.
If you can't tell by our scenery, we have filmed more than a video.
So what we've done is we've gone out to the farm and we filmed a video.
And we've made many mistakes.
We thought about, we should film the podcast before we got to the farm, but the rain came down.
The rain came down
Really bad.
really bad.
It was like it was smashing the roof.
My lord, the rain came down.
And I was just like, you know what? Let's just film the podcast at the farm.
Yeah, and then we decided, what if we recorded it the next day after the video we film? And then we thought,
Why don't we just film it straight after we finish filming?
why don't we film it straight after the video? Now, if you're looking at the video and not the listening part of the ears without the footage,
There is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 beers.
14 beers in front of our faces.
Yes, and we drank at least 13 of them.
In at least what?
Just under 4 hours.
Under 4 hours. And you know what? I'm raring. This podcast is going to be possibly the best podcast anybody's ever listened to. Do you know why?
I'm not a drinker either.
No, because anything can happen.
Michael, just for the listeners, have you seen me drink much?
No, I don't think I've seen you drink more than 3 beers.
Maybe 2 most times.
And nobody, you know what? Let's crack straight into it.
All right.
I wanted to know, because let's just assume people aren't fans of you and they're only fans of me, which is very true.
Okay, let's pause.
Okay.
We need to reference the previous podcast.
Previous podcast. You know what?
And how many?
160. Last time I checked, the last podcast, I asked you what would make you happy with, because it was our first podcast, right?
Yeah.
And I said, what would make you happy as a response from your audience to feel like you've achieved with the podcast? And you said, and these are your exact words, I beg you to check back at the first podcast to see if I'm wrong.
10,000 views.
10,000 comments.
Yeah.
And you know what? I am severely disappointed in you. 168 comments.
I'll comment on it.
Yeah, I've commented on it. And we're only at 168. So you set a bar way too high. And now we look like idiots.
No, I feel like
Chicken tonight. You feel like chicken tonight?
No,
Sorry.
I feel like the story was a little bit different, but anyway, moving on.
Moving on. I want to know.
Yes.
Because imagine someone has watched this for the first time.
Welcome.
And they're like, yeah, it's the neighbours. Oh, I recorded an intro. I wrote. Have you listened to it?
No.
Have you not listened? I worked very hard on the intro.
Yeah, I don't really care.
That hurts. Anyway, here's the intro.
Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the one and only Neighbours Podcast. It's a neighbor. 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 Neighbours Podcast. It's a neighbor podcast.
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
What'd you think?
I didn't hear it.
Fuck, it's great. Honestly, you'll have a great time listening to it.
I'm excited.
My wife and my daughter were laughing the shit out of me when I was recording. I was just yelling in the lounge room.
You're like, neighbours.
It's pretty close.
Think you know the taste those flavors.
No, the word neighbours was in the pod. It was in the thing. Anyway,
It's the Neighbours Podcast.
people who are watching this who have never heard of you before,
Okay.
let's just assume, because about 90% of people I talk to are like, who the fuck's Pestily?
Yeah. That's good. 1 in 10.
Who are you, and how did you get the name Pestily? Explain to us what you are and Pestily is.
How did I get the name?
No, well, explain what you are first.
I'm a flesh and blood living human being.
That does what? That does what?
Play video games and
Yeah.
watch YouTube
And what specific game do you play?
Go from Tarkov.
And what does that game do?
Crushes my soul.
It crushes your soul, but what do you do in the game?
Get my soul crushed.
You get your soul crushed by doing what?
Crushing other people's souls.
Correct. By how do you crush their souls?
They step on me.
Okay, so it's almost like I describe it to people like an impossible game of Call of Duty or Halo.
Yes. Nothing like that.
Nothing like that, but just imagine a gun,
Yes.
first-person shooter,
Gun, first person shooter.
and you're the world champion 3 times.
Undefeated.
Correct.
Yeah.
And how did you get the name Pestily?
So when I was 13 years old,
Fuck off, really? 13? Well, I didn't know you were 13.
once,
That's so young.
when I was 13 years old,
Yep.
I started a clan called Horsemen of the Apocalypse, which I'm sure you know a lot about.
I know all about the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse.
Okay, wonderful. And I was Pestilence,
Yes, you were.
and we started the clan, Horsemen of the Apocalypse. I was Pestilence, and Pestilence was sometimes taken, and my ex-girlfriend, she was like my first major girlfriend at the
Oh, wow.
Yeah. She used to like making the nickname IL on the end of names. And everyone used to call me Pest, like my cousin and my friend. And that.
Pestle.
And so she used to call me Pestle. And I used to make that my gamer name.
So, like, she just took anything and just added IL. Like,
so
oh, look, there's a dog L.
If you were Jack, you'd be Jackal. If you were Mike, you'd be Michael.
That's my actual name.
But you get the point. It was just the thing she did. We were young.
We were young, and that, to be honest, I feel like she could have come up with something. That's not the most.
It was just one of the things she did. It wasn't like a major thing in her life. It was just something she did.
I'm glad it wasn't a major thing. Shout out to who?
Jen.
Jen!
Hey, Jen. I don't know what she's actually done. I haven't spoken to her in like, how old am I? 35, 36?
You're old. You're very old.
I haven't spoken to her
Very good.
in probably 15 years.
So, Jennel.
Anyway, Jennel. What?
I just enjoy this moment.
So she said that, and then I was like, and I added a Y on the end of it, and it just stuck.
Pestily.
And to be honest,
Yeah.
it was never taken with anything I did. If I played a video game, or if I registered to a website, an account, it was always available, and it was amazing.
Yep.
Right? So, literally, if you look up Pestily before I was existent,
Yep.
it was me.
Yeah.
Every single time.
Yeah. So you're telling me there's more people that have gone with Pestily now because of you?
Don't get me started.
I want to get you started.
Anyway,
because this
I'll
is
get
a
to
massive
that.
thing.
Let me. And then I went to make a Twitch account, and it was taken.
By whom?
I think it was me. I'm not even joking. I think it was me a few years prior. I just couldn't figure out the login because it was following two Path of Exile streamers, which I don't know if you know Path of Exile. It's like a Diablo 2.
Okay, cool.
And I was like, it's following two Path of Exile streamers, hasn't ever streamed, hasn't ever been active. And so I made my name, This is Pestily. I streamed under that for like the first 6 months.
Yeah.
Hit partner. As soon as I hit partner, I said, I want to take over the name Pestily. They were like, yep, it's been inactive for years. Have it.
Yeah.
And that's how the Twitch stream became Pestily. But everything else was Pestily, guys.
Here's a mug that's a Twitch partner as well.
Apparently.
And a Discord one. Wow.
That's the story of
That
Pestily.
is that I'm more shocked by the fact that your previous ex-girlfriend thought that adding IL to the end of things was a thing. That's not a thing.
It wasn't like a big thing.
No.
Like, it's like, you know how like you're just having a conversation, you're adding, but you just, like we're talking shit right now.
Yeah.
Like we're talking shit right now.
We are. You've added the hand movements for people. Okay, if he's burped, there's reasons for it. There's about 15 cans in front of us because of
Anyway,
that.
so yeah, it wasn't like we spent weeks talking about this shit. It was like one conversation where she added IL, and I was like, oh, that's not a bad idea. You know, I'll put the fucking gamer tag in.
Yeah.
I met her at a LAN party.
Oh, holy shit. You met a girl at a LAN party.
Probably the only person.
That is the most rare thing in the world.
Yeah.
I can't say I've met any female at a LAN party. Like,
What a stud.
I would like to know if anybody's actually met a female at a LAN party, full stop.
Just in general, or like actually dated someone from a LAN party.
No, met any girl at a LAN party that wasn't a sibling or a relative of the person hosting the LAN party.
Yeah.
Holy shit, that doesn't exist in my world.
This was before gaming was cool.
The gaming's always been cool.
No, it's not.
From when up,
There was a lot of times in high school where playing video games was not cool.
that's very true.
Now, gaming's cool.
The gaming is very cool. My son is all about gaming.
Could you imagine, like, 15 years ago, 20 years ago,
I
if you were playing
was
video games, like if you were playing
16.
like, old school Half-Life or Counter-Strike 1.6 and that, you were looked at as the biggest nerds in the school. Like you were trying to figure out how to get on the computers at school and that.
Yeah.
Now,
If
you were like good at video games, you're like, oh my God,
Yeah.
that's fucking,
Yeah.
I don't know,
Legit. It's too legit.
to quit.
Correct. No, the reason why I bring up Pestily is because I feel like we've done this podcast and we've just assumed everybody knows who you are. And because when we did the first original podcast, because you all think that episode 1 is episode 1. It's not.
It's not.
Episode 1 is
Episode 1.2.
is 1.2 is what's up on Spotify and everything. But episode 1 is for our Patreon viewers.
We filmed it, and what happened was pissed down with rain.
Pissed halfway through.
And we were like,
Yeah.
we put it up anyway, and I was like, it has to be at least clean audio for
It does. It has to. Everybody knows if you're going to do a first podcast, clean audio.
And it wasn't. So we put it up on the Patreon, and everyone's like, that was a good episode. And we're like, nah.
Yeah, fuck you stupid. You have no idea what culture is.
House down.
Yeah, house down. I love that that's a thing now. Also,
I'm an emote for that.
I know, I'm so excited about the house down emote. If you're not camping stream, just type in Pestily camping stream. You'll enjoy your life. You'll benefit from it. But the reason why is I'm very excited for those of you that are watching. Who aren't watching, I'll describe it for you.
It's on Spotify now too.
It is on Spotify. And is it on Amazon as well?
One of them.
One of them. It's on one of them. But I'm excited now because during the first original podcast, you mentioned my gaming name, which was
Captain Tugboat.
Captain Tugboat. And since then, I've thought, fuck it. I saw this when we were going out to buy, when I went to buy metal detectors.
Yeah. How much was it?
It was $11. Not for the metal detector, for the hat. And I've got a captain's hat now.
That's pretty cool.
And so I asked my original question, why do you guys think that my name is Captain Tugboat? Because you know what? You're never going to know.
Do I know?
No, you don't.
I've asked.
You've asked, but I'm never going to tell you until you guess it. You've assumed it's about masturbation. Like 90% of the people I speak to is just like tugs boat, masturbation.
You had a chronic masturbation problem.
But that's not like, it's not true.
No. I think you're going to reword that. It's not that it's not true.
Yeah, it's not that it's not true, but it's not that. That's just a coincidence that I'm a chronic masturbator.
Yeah.
Anyway.
How many times have you been caught in public masturbating?
Never. No. Not public. Never public.
You've never done it in public and never been caught in public?
I don't know how to answer that question.
What is the definition of public?
People that aren't relatives or people that you are familiar with, like a stranger.
No, that's public people. I mean, like, what is the definition of the absolute public area? Like leaving your house?
Yeah, so that's your
property?
Yep. So your place of house or your place of worship, I don't think is public.
Okay. What about the bush? Is that public?
Well, nobody congregates in the bush.
What do you mean by congregate?
Congregate is more than 3 people decide, let's go to the bush and do, like, let's run a meeting.
Disgusting wanks in my time.
Okay, hold on. I'm very interested in what you mean by disgusting wanks.
Yeah. Porta potties.
You've done a wank in a porta potty.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm the army, man. You go out for 6 weeks straight. You got no other place to go.
I have masturbated in a church.
If I had to get one out, like, okay, after a couple of weeks, you just have fuck dreams.
Have you? I'm sorry, but I've masturbated in a church and you're continuing with porta potties.
What? Dude, mine's got shit everywhere. Yours is like, dad hangs out over there.
All right, you've done a porta potty, I've done a church. Where have you masturbated where you're like...
And there goes our monetization of this podcast.
There goes our monetization podcast. Anyway, let me check the camera.
Did it beep?
No, I'm just checking it. Oh, I've got a dangle cord.
So we had an issue with the camera last time. We got the recording no matter what.
Oh, we got another 20 minutes.
The recording is always going to be working now.
Yeah.
So yeah, anyway.
All right, so
bushwhacks and porta potties is a pretty common thing in the army.
you were in the army for quite a while.
8 years.
8 years. That's a fucking long time.
Yeah, I didn't do any bushwhacks and porta potties for at least the first 18 months.
Regardless of the masturbation, people are going to watch this and think, "Oh, so you're a famous gamer," but that's not really where a lot of your work came from. Because if we're at the start of a fucking podcast and we're the neighbours, and nobody knows that it's, when they look at our podcast, they see the word "the neighbours." They don't see Pestily, do they?
Well, no, it's featuring Pestily and Micheal.
I'm Michael. Great, thanks. Am I Mike? Did you spell my name correctly?
Yes.
Oh, that's all good then.
Would you rather me to have Captain Tugboat?
No, I like Michael.
No one knows who Captain Tugboat is. A lot of people know who Michael is.
Everybody knows who Captain Tugboat is. It's the person that
Continue.
Anyway, what I'm saying is the army. Let's talk about the army.
All right, we haven't discussed this much.
No, we haven't discussed the army. Now, you know I applied for the army once?
Yeah.
Twice, actually.
You didn't get in.
No, because of my head scars. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Your brain damage.
But we're moving on. You were in the army for 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
Can you describe the whole scenario in general?
65% sitting around bored, playing on your phone, reading a book, hating life.
Hurry up and waiting.
30 to 33% of the most painful, back-breaking, shoulder-breaking, knee-crushing
Physical.
experiences of your life.
What about emotional?
And then 2 to 5% of the coolest shit you ever do in your life.
What does that entail?
Shooting big rocket launches, hanging out helicopters.
Because honestly, there's a lot to dig in there because you've even had an incident with shooting things as well.
Yeah.
Have you been open about that with people?
Not on my own stuff. There was a podcast that went on PKA where I spoke about it in detail.
On what, sorry?
The painkiller associates? No, painkiller adrenaline, painkiller PKA. You'll find it.
But before we dig into that, which we will, like people just think army, infantry, meathead. You spoke another language.
Yeah.
I feel like when you talked to me about army, it was more about the other language you spoke, not necessarily the meathead side of it.
Infantry in particular is not just what people generally think of when the stereotypical army guy, particularly in the infantry, is just some brickhead dude that just lifts things and moves it to some place and just does what they're told. I think infantry is generally the misfits.
Yeah.
You don't get a lot of just your normal typical blokes. You just got a lot of people that are just unique in their own ways. So like you might have some like footy jock who's like super keen on fitness. Yeah. But like, he might be the bit more of a meathead. Yeah. But then you got some really intelligent dude that just wants to try and like fit in with the boys. Yeah. And you get the most like I'm trying to think of a movie reference, but when you look at the movies of the infantry and there's like it might be like Forrest Gump and you have like all these different people that are like totally different from all types of backgrounds. It could be from like different ethnicity. You know what I mean? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Or like they could be from rich families, poor families. None of it. Like some people were like from really rich families, and then other people like they were on Centrelink, they were on welfare growing up. Yeah. But when you rock up, you're all the same. Yeah. That's why literally on day one of Kapuka, not day one, it's technically day two. You go down and get your head shaved, and you're all bald from the day one.
Females as well?
They have to have their hair like fully clipped back tight. Yeah. So they're pretty much like, it's just like
it's just tied back and nothing special. Yeah. Yeah.
There's no like, oh, I've got a big ponytail kind of sticking. Yeah. None of that shit. It's like everyone looks exactly the same kind of thing. You're all treated the same. You're all dressed the same.
Why do they do that?
It's to conformity, make you all part of it, like a group. You're not special. You're not anyone.
Yeah, you're part of a team. Is it more about team or is it more about conformity?
Conformity.
Yeah.
This is the way.
Is that a good thing?
I think it's really eye-opening for a lot of people that when they come straight out of school.
Which majority of young people that go into the army
a lot of them are either haven't finished school or just finished school. They don't know how to iron. They don't know how to wash their clothes. They don't really know.
They've never been independent.
No. Yeah. So then they get told, this is how you do stuff. Yeah. This is how you be an adult. This is how you be a person, a member of society. And very quickly you get thrown into those situations and shown how to do it and then expected to do it to a high standard at a very rapid rate. I think it's really good for a lot of people. And then for other people, it's just like, well, that's just being a person, like being an adult. Yeah. And so those people find it really easy. The ones that don't find it easy, the ones that are culture shocked. Yeah.
Fucking hell.
It's not a bad place. I actually think it's the military as an organisation in the whole.
From Australia's point of view.
From Australian point of view, it's a wonderful thing. Yeah. There's definitely some flaws.
As every military would have.
It's like every workplace. Yeah. Okay, let me give you a perfect example. I kind of think of, particularly in infantry, a lot of people that are very intelligent, very wonderful at their job, they understand that they're better than infantry. Yeah. So they leave. And so what ends up happening is the people that stick around, there's generally two reasons. One, they don't have anything better they want to do in their life and they're just kind of sticking around, and so they're the leftover, I don't want to be rude, but like deadbeats, and they kind of just get promoted over time because they're stuck around long enough and they don't want to go anywhere else. Or two, and this is generally where you find the really good people, is they were young, but they got married and had kids.
Yep.
And they don't want to leave that security of money and support for their family.
I very much understand that.
And so then they're like, well, I'm making $60,000, $70,000, $80,000, $90,000 a year as they promote through the ranks. I don't want to go and then get a job starting again at $50,000 a year. And potentially not have a secure job and not have the opportunities that the military gives.
Yeah, and give up all the experience I've just put my ass in for.
Well, so that's why they stick around. So generally you have a lot of the first category, because some will end up having kids and stuff too.
Yeah.
And just a few tail enders of the second. Very few people that are like, this sounds really arrogant, but I was always like, I want to be the best at whatever I do in life. It doesn't have to be military, but I want to be the best at whatever I do in life. But I kept getting hit down by the higher ranks because they were just, I wasn't trying to reinvent the wheel. I was just trying to push the boundaries of what is good training and what is good quality soldiering. So the issue became I was either going to excel in a different field of the military, which was linguistics. Mm-hmm. I wanted to be a Chinese translator. But when I had a dispute about it and they said I'm an infantry soldier, focus on infantry, I said, all right, I'm going. Yeah. And I left.
And they responded.
They tried to give me a posting to the School of Languages to learn Chinese.
Of course they did.
And I said, I'm going to go play video games and go fishing.
Straight off the bat, you got in the infantry and you went straight into languages. What made you want to go?
I didn't go straight into it.
Well, what made you go into languages then?
All my mates deployed to Afghanistan.
Did you just straight away go, I want to learn Indonesian? Or was it because of the fact that everyone got deployed to Afghanistan and you didn't?
Yeah. That's another misconception of the military. You join the military like, all right, I'm going to go to war and do all these exciting things. Yeah. Whatever perspective you have of it, it doesn't really matter. Soon you realise it has nothing to do with how good of a soldier you are. It's a lottery system of where you are. Yeah. So, for example, in a battalion, there'll be 4 companies, Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, and support. Now, in those 4 companies, say my battalion was 7 RAR, it turns around, all right, we're getting a deployment to Afghanistan. They'll say, all right, we're taking 1 company and half the support. Well, okay, if you're in Alpha company and they said Charlie company, too bad, you miss out. So there was nothing to do with
and there's no reason for why they chose Alpha over Charlie.
You mean Charlie over Alpha? But it doesn't matter. Like, it's too bad. So sad, you missed out. Yeah. Now you're on. Then the next trip comes along and you're still in Alpha, and they go, "Oh, we're sending Bravo this time." Yeah. Too bad, so sad. You missed out.
But can Bravo be like an earlier subscription of people?
No, it's just luck. Like, so the next year's Mandy might come out. And this year I'm in Bravo. I'm like, sweet, I'm in Bravo.
Did you want
and then they'll go, all right, we're sending Alpha company to
But did you want to be deployed to?
Everyone that serves wants to deploy.
For what reason?
The easiest way I can explain it is when you sign up to do a job and you train all your adult career in that job to do that job, you want to actually do the job. Yeah. So if you spend 4 years training to be an infantry soldier and then you go, all right, time to go to Afghan, and you miss out, it's like getting kicked in the dick. Because it's like, well, I don't get to actually go do my job now. What do I do? Yeah. So for me, I'm like, I'm not sitting around for another deployment. Like, I was in from 2009, our first deployments were 2012, and they was talking that no more deployments until at least 4 more years. So I was like, well, okay, I'm not going to wait till 2016 to deploy again. So I'm going to do something with my career. Yeah. And that's when I started looking for languages. Yeah. So in 2014. In 2013, when all my mates went to Afghan, I said, well, I'm going to try and find something else to do. And I applied for School of Languages and got a posting in 2014. And I studied Indonesian. Yeah.
Hold on. I have a question. I just want to check the camera. Sorry, guys, but this is... we've gone deep here. Fuck, we went more serious than I was expecting. Fuck, what a night, first of all. But... you've just said to me, like, you work your whole adult career to work towards something and you don't get deployed, so you go into fucking linguistics. Languagistics is what I call it. Do you feel like you got the full experience of the army without being deployed?
No. But, okay, so let me go, there's a bit to that question. Only soldiers, particularly infantry soldiers, but other soldiers would surely understand this. Infantry soldiers that leave the army and they talk to someone and they go, oh, you're in the army. The first question that comes after it was, did you ever get deployed to Afghan? Yeah. Did you ever get deployed to
because that's our closest war that's happened.
Did you ever get deployed to Iraq? and you immediately feel judged.
Yeah.
Immediately feel judged.
Well, if you didn't get deployed to Afghanistan, you've obviously not experienced the army.
You haven't done your job.
Yeah.
So most people don't mean anything negative by it, but it's such a common thing. Like, it's so common. The amount of people I've spoken to, and I'm sure there's people listening to this podcast that would be like understanding it if they've been in the military but didn't deploy, is how that there's this weird feeling about it. I don't care. Like, that I wanted to deploy, I wanted to do my job, but I could bless my, I feel blessed to the fact that I didn't have to.
Yeah.
Like something could have happened to me there. If it comes down to the other side of things, which a lot of people only care about deployments for the money, particularly in the Australian Army, it's different for America. The Australian Army, you get $10,000 tax-free per month. Now, if the American...
Which is a fucking... That's a lot.
That's good. So you normally get a 6 to 9 month deployment.
Like, that's 120 grand a year.
Yeah.
Tax-free.
Tax-free.
Holy fuck.
And other benefits on top.
Yeah.
But see, most of deployments between 6 and 8 months.
Yeah.
Now, the Americans, and I'm sure someone's going to correct me, but the Americans don't get it tax-free, and they get like $1,500 extra a month. So they're getting paid maybe, I don't know, I'm just going to spitball here, but somewhere probably between 50 to 60 grand a year to deploy.
Yeah.
And they're getting it taxed.
Yeah.
Whereas we get 120 grand a year deployed, tax-free.
Yeah.
So for us, the very big motivation is to go Afghan or Iraq just to get paid.
Yeah.
Now, when all my mates went to Afghan and Iraq, I actually also got a trip to over to Indonesia for 6 months.
Yeah.
Now, I had my whole pay for that period, which I was on 65, 70 grand a year.
Which is not a bad wage.
Yeah. But I also got all my benefits for being in Indonesia, which was about $25,000.
Yeah, so you're looking at like 80,
that was
90.
tax-free.
Yeah.
That 25 grand just went straight in my account.
Yeah.
So I got 25 grand, lived in Indonesia, which cost me about $300 every 2 weeks because my accommodation and everything was paid for. So I actually saved $50,000 in 6 months. Out of after all taxes and everything, I literally saved $50,000 in that 6 months. I came home and bought a house.
But
I didn't have to go to a war zone, but I actually got the same amount of money.
Yeah, but you also got a fucking language out of it.
Of course, but I'm just talking bigger picture of why people would like to deploy and what the whole purpose of being in the military and all that stuff is.
I brought up all the army stuff mainly for the main story of your incident that happened what year?
2011.
And it's not a fucking small incident. You didn't get deployed, but for experience of people that obviously if you're not deployed, this is a massive thing to happen.
Yeah, it was pretty big.
Fucking, I thought it was pretty big.
I don't really see it as a big thing.
Yeah, but go on. Describe to the people what's happened.
So I was training up. There's a thing called the Dog Cup. Duke of Glasgow, I think it is. Cup. It's the best soldiers of each battalion go up against each other. And I was in the team training up. I think it was 2011. And we were doing a training thing. We were out there. We were having fun. And we were doing these big platoon attacks. Man, this is a while ago now. This is over 11 years ago.
Jesus Christ.
So we were doing this big thing where it was a company attack. There was one platoon doing an attack. Actually, it was 2 platoons really doing an attack. So there was a platoon doing the actual attack, all live fire. There wasn't blade rounds or anything like that. So
what do you mean by live fire?
Like live rounds are being shot. So you're not like.
So this is like a.
So there's targets in the distance, and they're popping up. And you shoot at those targets.
Okay.
And they come up on timers. So when you hit them, they fall over.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, they're up.
And it's basically like one group is sent out first to test these things.
No, there was. What do you mean to test them?
Well, you're not going to test them on each other. One group gets sent out, shoots the targets.
Yes.
Correct.
So okay, imagine a company. A company is 3 platoons.
Yep.
A platoon is about 30 soldiers. So 30 soldiers were advancing, firing, moving up on these targets, shooting at them. Machine guns, all your assault rifles and all that. Now, most people think that everyone shoots full automatic. The only people that shoot fully automatic are the light machine guns. LSWs, we call them light support weapons. So they're usually shooting 5.56, sometimes 7.62, which would be like a Mag 58. We had Minimize, which is very similar to the M249s. For the Americans. So those guys are shooting full automatic, and then the Steyrs, the F-88 Steyrs, they're shooting just single fire.
Yeah.
So they'll progress, they'll get close enough to pits, And we actually threw grenades during these attacks too. We did some really cool stuff.
At targets or?
So there'd be targets that weren't the pop-up ones because you wouldn't want to blow up the mechanics.
Yeah.
So they had targets off to the side and you would throw it off to the side. When you got to a certain point where the pit was, you would throw a grenade at that pit.
Just out of curiosity, how big of a radius of an explosion of a grenade is there?
6 meter kill radius.
Fuck.
So, but to be honest,
so
I'm not saying I would want to.
A 6 meter radius.
Yes. So, but let me put it this way. I honestly think grenades aren't very deadly.
Yeah.
They're more of a shock.
Yeah.
So, if you were literally standing right next to a grenade and it went off, it would kill you. No shit.
Yeah.
But if you were laying down with your feet aiming towards the grenade and you were a good let's say 5 meters away from it, and you had your feet pointed towards the grenade, you were laying down, the grenade goes off, I honestly don't even think it would hurt you. At most, you might get a few bits of shrapnel on your feet.
Well, I'm glad we're not the people that test that theory.
Okay, but I'm just saying, because the way grenades are, they kind of sit there, and when they blow up, there's only really certain directions it can go.
Yeah, but it all depends on, is there, obviously it's going to blow out the top or just...
Or it'll blow up in it. So there's explosive in the middle, and then I think if I'm correct, someone's going to correct me if I'm wrong, but it's filled with little ball bearings, and then there's the casing as well.
Yeah.
That's all the shrapnel involved in a grenade. So when the grenade blows up, all the ball bearings and all the shrapnel goes out everywhere.
Yeah.
And that's it. So, you'll throw a grenade. You're nearly always safe. But the way they do it is you'll progress. They'll have pits already dug. You get into the pit. You'll throw the grenade. You'll yell grenade.
Yeah.
Safety supervisor will be standing out the back to make sure there's no issues. And then they'll jump in their pits. It's all very well done. Anyway, that's the platoon attack. Now, the second platoon was up on a hill on the side. And to make it sound more realistic and make it more realistic for the people doing their normal attack, we were shooting stuff behind them. Sorry, in front of them, but further.
Yep.
So behind their targets, we would shoot stuff. We were shooting stuff like 84mm Carl Gustav rocket launchers. So they're the big rocket launchers.
Yep.
We had 66s, which is a smaller version of the rocket launcher. 40mm, I want to say M203s. I can't remember the exact, which is your underbarrel grenade launchers.
Just sorry to cut you off there. Is a massive reason people get into the army is just to use weapons?
Yeah.
They
like shooting cool stuff.
There you go.
Getting paid
do you find that archaic, or you just like that's just a natural? That's just a natural.
It's cool the first time you do it, but after that, everyone gets bored.
Yeah, it's an experience. So you feel like people get sold by the I don't want to say the glorification.
No, it's like be on an adventure, explore the world. Yeah. There's a bit of that.
Yeah.
So there's that, and then we had the 50 cal machine guns.
Yeah, and this is where we're heading towards your incident.
So I was on the 50 cal.
Yeah. Which you hear 50 cal in movies like fucking Transformers and shit.
The best way I can explain it is I don't know if this is the newest Rambo now. At the time it was the
I
newest
remember
Rambo.
that, yeah, when he's on the 50 cal on the boat.
No, the 50 cal on the back of the Jeep. There's like a
and
50
he's
cal on the
shooting
back
the
of the
side
Jeep,
of the hill.
and he's just destroying everyone in the field.
Yeah.
Right, so there's a big Browning 50 cal. Now these things are done on tripods. You kind of like imagine a tripod, and you have your feet up on the left and right side.
Yeah.
So you kind of like got your crutch exposed to it, and they've got a big double handle kind of way of holding it, and then you have a big 100-round belts that you put on this. So I was a good 200 rounds in to shoot into the targets at the back, and I had what's called a hard cock, which is a stoppage, and what it means is the main part of the actual inside of the 50 cal got stuck.
Yeah.
So when you pull the cocking handle back, it only gets halfway.
Yeah.
And this is no word of a lie. The way to fix it is to kick it. So I call it a stoppage.
To kick a weapon.
Yeah. So my offsider, he was my corporal. He came around, and I was holding the 50 cal to make sure it didn't move. My boss was standing literally right behind me. And my offsider, the corporal, he was kicking the 50 cal handle to get the jam out.
Yeah.
These are things like, I'm doing off the top of my head, but they're probably about 30 kilograms. Like, these are heavy machine guns.
Yeah.
So he kicks it, the handle comes loose, and the cocking handle comes loose, and we're all sweet. Boss behind me, he's like, yep, no worries, go back to firing, on your target. And I'm like, sweet. I do out the next call, which is scene on firing now.
Yeah.
And that's when you click the shoot button.
Yeah.
And I shoot, and it blows up.
What do you mean it blows up?
Literally, there was a big explosion on the whole 50 cal. And so, to me, my initial reaction was to dive and protect my face.
Yeah.
Because you know when you feel something hitting you in the face?
Yeah, and you react.
Your hands, I'm probably doing this really bad with the microphone. Your hands come up, and I just curl to the side to protect my face. Boss is like 5 meters behind me when this happens. He immediately runs over, screams stop to everyone, because that's the way it works. You tell everyone to stop, and there's an incident. He goes, "You all right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm all good, but my leg's a bit sore."
Fuck.
And we look down, and there's just blood pissing out of my leg, like my inner thigh.
Which is like where like
Your
one of the
femoral
main.
arteries. Yeah. So I don't think I've ever seen 3 guys jump on me as quickly as that.
In what regard?
So I had my corporal and 2 other guys literally just grab me. They rip off my pants and they start inspecting me and putting pressure on it.
Yeah.
They were really good. Like, honestly, I couldn't. All our training for how I was training with the best guys in the battalion.
Yeah.
For at that point, so it was really good just to see everyone in action. But yeah, they immediately ripped off my pants, make sure there was no secondary wounds, and then they literally put the pressure on. We bandaged it up, and we called forward the ambulance. Now the ambulance was fucking useless. They drove to the wrong spot. So they've got this thing in the army called the golden hour. So if there's ever an incident, you have to make sure you get out to the hospital within 1 hour.
Yeah.
They went as fast as they could, and there was no way I was there within an hour.
How far away from hospital were you?
About 45 minutes.
So they had a good 15 minutes up their sleeve and they still went wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
So I was in like the green whistle and all that. Get to the hospital. The hospital staff was like, "Can you walk in?" Well, we've got a gunshot wound here to the inner thigh. Can you just get him to walk in? And they're like, And then once they figured out what was going on, they were like, "Oh, maybe not."
So did you go straight into surgery or?
No. I didn't go straight into surgery. So I went into the hospital. It was actually really fun. They're all really lovely. It was a Whyalla.
Yeah.
So it was like pretty much the middle of nowhere. They put me into the hospital. They checked me over. They did scans through the X-ray machine and that. And they could tell that it wasn't hitting the femoral artery. There was nothing, no nerves or anything. But they didn't want to risk me moving.
But they wanted you to walk in.
Yeah, that was after I got inside.
Okay.
So they didn't want to risk me moving or anything like that. So I ended up, that was the Saturday, and I got surgery on the Monday. I asked the surgeon to keep it.
Keep the shrapnel?
Yeah, which I still have.
Yeah, where?
At home.
I have not seen this
I
shrapnel.
just got it in like a medical
Okay.
little case.
Yeah.
But yeah, they took it out. It was so funny because like they were like,
I'm glad that you think this is funny because this is fucked.
in the hospital. It was like, "Oh, okay, so you're not allowed to move, but you need to go to the bathroom."
Yeah.
So they're like, "You can do it in a bedpan." I'm like, "No, I'll go to the fucking toilet."
Yeah.
So they're like, "Oh, okay, we'll get you a wheelchair at least." And so I was just like, "Yep, no worries." They bring the wheelchair. Like, "Do you need help?" I'm like,
Yeah.
I was like super fit at the time. I was like, lift myself up without moving my leg. I'm like, "I'll get in there.
Yeah.
I'm not dead yet. I'm good." And so I just get into the toilet and that. And then in the mornings they do the rounds, and I had all the kids that are like.
Yeah, the interns and shit.
Yeah, but they're from like grad students and the people from universities.
The grad students prior to being interns.
The ones that before grad students, it's like you're doing work placement from university.
Okay, yeah.
So I had like all of these people there, and they get up to me, and like I'm in Whyalla. This is like the middle of country Australia.
Yeah, country bumfuck. Yeah,
4 hours from any major city.
Yeah,
and they're like, "All right, this is Paul Licari, gunshot wound to the inner thigh," and they're like, "What?"
Yeah, like how random is this? It's like this is probably their first gunshot wound ever.
I'll give you perspective. The 5 people around me was like 70-year-old with a hip replacement.
Yeah.
80 years old with
Australia is not known for gunshot wounds.
No, 80-year-old with getting their like knee reco.
Not to jump the gun. I think a lot of people would be like, but how did the accident actually happen? Now, before we answer that question, camera.
Michael's just obsessed with this camera.
No, I am obsessed because we missed out on foot fetishes last time. Because last time we didn't focus on the camera, we missed out on the whole foot fetish thing, and people are going to be like, "What was the foot fetish thing?" But how did the actual incident happen? Like, how did you get a gunshot wound to the inner thigh?
So the actual incident happened by when he was kicking that cocking handle. Now, this is not confirmed, but the report says otherwise. What does the report? The report says unsure, like it's unobtainable kind of thing.
Because there's no actual proof
But
of what happened.
I've spent more than 100 hours thinking about this. The one thing that stands out to me is when the explosion happened, the barrel shot out. And the only reason...
What do you mean by the barrel shot out?
The barrel shot out of the body of the gun.
Okay.
The only reason that makes sense for that to happen is it wasn't locked in.
Yeah.
And for it to not be locked in, my theory is when he was kicking the cocking handle, he leant forward and leaned on the barrel.
Yeah.
There's a handle on the barrel. And when he kicked it, he might have unlocked it.
Yeah.
Now, when the barrel sits inside the body of the weapon, the round comes in and feeds into the barrel. Normally the round is completely into the barrel, and there's only a little bit of the actual back of the cartridge sticking out, where the extractor cord would grab onto it, right where the primer cap is that you strike the firing pin on. Yeah. Right? My theory is that wasn't completely in. Yeah. It was actually sitting back maybe half an inch to an inch. And so when the firing pin went forward and struck it, it blew the back of the cartridge. Yeah. And all the shrapnel from the back of the cartridge shot out the bottom of the 50 cal, because the extraction port, when you shoot a round on the 50 cal, the rounds fall out of the bottom. Yeah. So when the shot happened, the explosion came out the bottom, right where my crotch is. Fuck. Now,
did it get
the reason why I'm confident about this is, one, the barrel shot out. Two, they had to do an investigation. And when they did the investigation, they cut the barrel. Yeah. And you could see the round stuck halfway up it. Yeah. And half the cartridge was still on it. Normally the cartridge comes off the projectile. Yeah. Like a 50 cal is a good almost 6-7 inches long around. Yeah. But only the front inch and a half is the 50 cal round. Yeah. So the actual projectile part. But there was half the cartridge still on that projectile, which is what holds all the gunpowder and all that. Yeah. So that was halfway at the barrel. So how did the half of that explode out the bottom and does the rest stay on it? And I think it's because it was exposed. Yeah. Because
but when he put his hand, potentially or possibly, we don't know. Yeah. But when the hand was put on the handle, it's pushed the barrel out, which is exposed.
Yeah, so when it's 45 degrees to the left, it's locked in. Yeah. But when it's vertical, it's unlocked. Yeah. So he kicked it and it moved it to the vertical. Yeah. Think of it
possibly.
Yeah. Look, it has to be this. I can't think of anything else that would make sense. Yeah. Now, at the time, I said, "Oh, how much to buy the barrel?" Yeah. And it was $1,300. Yeah. And I was like, "We should all chip in and buy this." Yeah. But I never did. Yeah. I fucking wish I had that now. Yeah.
Fuck, that'd be cool.
The rest of my life. It's probably sitting in some Ramey office in the middle of, I don't know, camper or some shit.
Yeah. So how old are you?
That went army wide, that info.
Fucking oath it would have. Anything that's part of it.
You know the funniest thing about that whole story? It's not even the fact that I had that accident. It's the fact that a few months later... Now, by the way, my recovery time was meant to be months. Yeah. I was training out for Special Forces at the time because I was trying to be part of the best in the battalion. I was training for Special Forces. I had a pack on my back and I was fully fit, ready to go within 4 weeks. Yeah. I was not letting anything stop me. Yeah. I was like, no, I will do this. And I was just like... So I was very keen. But anyway, about 3-4 months later, I didn't get to do the dog cup because I missed out on all the training. Yeah. About 3-4 months later, I had a trip to Malaysia. It was RCB 95. So if any of the Australian boys are in the army and they end up going to Malaysia and there's all the plaques on the wall, look for RCB 95. And I did another one after that, like 115. You can see Pila Kari up there. But when I did that, there was another guy in my platoon, Gross. He actually subs to me on Twitch.
Oh, isn't he lovely?
Yeah. He had a 50 cal blow up and it went in his testicle. I'm not exaggerating.
Nah.
And now this was a different situation.
Did he keep the testicle?
The whole company had been shooting. Yeah. And it had gotten so hot that when he put the rounds on and shut it, it blew up. The rounds were that hot.
That just from the heat, it exploded.
It exploded. That's a common thing when people shoot too many rounds. Yeah. Which everyone thought that had happened to me. It was 100% not that. It was 200 rounds in. It was cold.
Yeah.
But when his exploded and it went in his testicle, he screamed
I would scream too.
that he was on fire.
That he was on fire.
And so everyone called him Ricky Bobby from that day. I'm not exaggerating.
Good call.
So yeah. Grossy, how you going, mate? I hope you're watching.
Yeah, no, exactly. I had something before to mention and I've forgotten it. And I think it was important because I'm not just going to assume that everybody knows who you are when they read the Neighbours podcast. So you're Pestily, you did the army, you streamed, blah, blah, blah. We'll get into the streaming in a second. But you talked about how your incident being an explosion from a 50 cal into your leg went nationwide.
Yep.
On the same level of comparison, you farted, didn't you?
No one knows.
No one knows, but I know. Is that one of the ones where it just involuntary happened?
That was a bit of push.
That was a push. Now,
Mine's not small.
yeah. So I had a nationwide company response. So I worked in the mines as a scaffolder, and I was a first year scaffolder, but I was paid as if I was like an intermediate scaffolder. All right, because they said if you're going to come up here in the mines, you need to get these tickets, regardless. I had an incident. Can you guess what it is? No, it doesn't matter. Do you like mee goreng noodles?
No, not a big fan.
All right, but have you ever made mee goreng noodles?
Yeah.
So you know when you've got the sachets, what's the best way to make them? You have a small pair of scissors and you cut the sachets open. Now I had a very small pink set of scissors and I popped them in the top of my pocket in my little overalls because everybody gets overalls in the mines. They're all orange. We all get the same overalls. We all get the same boots. We all get the same undershirts. We all get the same underwear. We all get the same area to shower in. I left my little pink scissors in my pocket. And they have people coming around and doing the washing. So you put your overalls in the washing. And I left my pink scissors in there. And this is obviously more drastic than you're getting exploded or shot in the leg. But I left my pink scissors in said overalls. And they sent out a nationwide memo to the whole of fucking Australia, every single mine, that you can't have dangerous objects. And they had a photo of my locker, my number, my overalls, and the scissors, being like, look at the perpetrator and what he's left in there. Like, I'm talking like the small, like they couldn't even cut fucking butter. And they sent out a nationwide memo being like, 408P15S, you're a criminal. Anyway, I just thought I'd share that. Your turn.
I tell you about what?
Well, I've been running this whole conversation and then you talk. It's now your turn.
You just made me talk about my whole life.
Well, I felt like people needed to know where Pestily came from. Yes, you're a video game streamer, but prior to the video game streaming, which you've shared quite a lot, but not on this podcast, about your army days. And I'm sure there's a lot more to your army days. So I figured for newcomers...
The time I got shot.
Because technically we wouldn't be here without your streaming days, your streaming name.
Yeah.
Correct. So I just wanted to know the man behind Pestily, the man behind the shirt that you wear.
Yeah, I didn't mean to wear this shirt.
No, you didn't, but you wore it. Now you look like a wanker.
So I made a comment like, that's like me wearing a shirt named Eric. A shirt named Eric.
It's not Eric's a wanker, but that's almost like you're a wanker as well.
No, I was outside working on stuff and I was like, shit.
You were digging a mud hole.
Can you not put that down? Every time you put that down, there's a big spike.
I want to drink my water.
Anyway.
You remember in the first podcast where you're like, I can control and run the conversation.
And now we're here.
Should we move on to the most recent project that we've worked on? So
Raft?
The Raft.
So the video went live last week on the Friday.
Correct. So it's either the Monday or the Tuesday now, and this has gone live. And the previous Friday, the Raft video, and this is the video I've been most excited about.
Yeah.
Like out of all the videos we filmed, I was most excited about this one.
I think, in all seriousness, it's not our best video. It's a fun video.
It was the most enjoyable experience for me.
Yeah, because you're not keen on water.
I'm not keen on water, heights, anything dangerous or anything fun. But I enjoyed the experience of the raft.
I enjoyed the video. Like, okay, I know it sounds like I'm tooting my own horn here, but the actual video itself, we had a very good idea going into it, what we wanted to achieve.
Yeah.
We want to make a video about the raft from Raft and see how it goes out in the ocean. Mm-hmm. And then we started going on these like, oh, what if we have like a news article about like
sharks.
So many shark attacks.
I remember you saying, look up shark card.
There has been so many in Australia.
Yeah. Or if you watch the video, you'll think, oh, these must be from years ago. They were all from the 2021. That was just only 6 months prior.
Those were like more than 3 years old.
No. They were like all recent, within a year.
Even the beach that we did the actual raft on, some dude had died at.
Correct.
From a great white shark.
And there'd been shark sightings multiple times.
Yeah.
So like I was very nervous about it in general. That's the one thing I felt I enjoyed the raft video when we did it, but prior to it, I was like, fuck, you're not taking this seriously, bro. Like I was like, what happens when we get out there? What happens if there's an issue? You're not telling me that.
I would have just slapped it with the paddle.
Of course you would have slapped it with the paddle. That's your literal like excuse for like that's your what's the thing? That's your solution.
Not much gets me nervous.
Your solution for everything is I'll slap it with a paddle.
Yeah, pretty much. Not a lot gets me nervous though. Like seriously.
Except for some of the beers that we drank tonight.
Dude, some of the beers were fucking
Some of the beers were fucking horrible. Have a look.
Some of them were really nice.
Have a look at the beer video that we did. There is
like 2 months' time.
You reckon?
It'll be out in about a month.
I thought you were going to push for it to be out real soon.
It'll be out in about a month.
About a month. Regardless, there were some regrets. There were some laughs. We had a great time.
Yeah. It's a great video. I actually think it was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun.
But anyway, we're not talking about future.
Sorry. Raft. Like, honestly, like you're.
I really want to do it again.
Number two, I want to do it again too because I enjoyed it. But the original thing was like, we haven't talked about a safety boat or a jet ski or anything out on the ocean. If things fuck up, like I know in the video you'll be like, oh, but you can see the shore. Getting back to the shore was a lot harder than you think. And fucking hell.
Yeah.
But we did it.
I would do it again. I actually want
We are going to do it again.
2.0. The raft in the raft video, we were actually on like a pallet. Like it was literally the size.
It was one pallet. It was literally just one pallet.
The next video will probably be
6 to 8 pallets.
I'd say 8.
Yeah, we've got it. We're fully committing. We're fully committing.
It's going to be a full day of setup, I think. Like we'll build the raft and then we'll take it out.
It'll probably be about 3 days of building.
No, but I'm talking about like once we actually make the raft.
Yeah.
It'll be, all right, we need to get it all there the day before, set it up,
Yeah.
and then the next morning we can
Correct.
out on it.
Yeah, I'm going to have like you and 2 other guys in my lounge room. It's going to be great.
No, we're not doing it from that. I'm going to go I'm going to Kangaroo Island.
100%.
Then we have to go to Cape Jarvis.
We're going to Cape Jarvis.
So we'll have it all set up on the beach front, ready to go, and
Yep.
then we'll launch from there.
Yeah.
So,
And we're bringing who?
the editors.
The 2 editors. We've got
German and the South
the
African.
German and the South African. Now the South African I feel like is going to be okay. Oh, my two of my 3 favorite people, our editors, they're going to be joining us on the Raft. Raft
Yes.
2.0.
So we have a Raft 2.0. The idea... No, I don't talk about it in detail.
No, it's just if you watch the first Raft video, just imagine it 8 times bigger, and you're adding a German.
3 more people.
3 more, 2 more,
2 more people.
and a safety boat.
The German.
The German and
The South African.
South African. South African.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all I've got about it. It's very exciting. This has been a massive night.
We're trying to keep these podcasts short, sweet, and punchy. So I think we might call that one.
We'll call it there. We're sorry that this one was a little bit more serious. I wanted to go into the.
It wasn't meant to be serious
It wasn't. I think we were expecting it to be a lot more silly and funny.
because we got drunk.
We did get drunk, but I went straight into like, no, let's
Tell me
learn.
your life story and how you nearly died.
Yeah, because I feel like people need to know that because I assume that some people are going to watch this. They're not going to know who you are, and some people that know who you are don't actually know the story.
They don't. No, half the people don't even know.
And then people are going to be like, let's learn about Micheal. And I'll be like, well, when you want to learn about carpet. Anyway, another time. Well, that was.
Past 1 in the morning. We drank 15 beers between us.
And we're farting and pissing and
We had a few wings.
we had a few wings. We had some pizza pockets. It's a good night.
So what we do is we put out IRL videos each week. I've got plenty of gaming content up on both the
Shorten it.
Pestily channel
Make
and
it shorter.
shut up
People don't get.
on the Pestily TV channel. The podcast obviously in the Pestily Unmasked channel, and if you guys want to see extra stuff from the behind the scenes of all the videos,
Patreon.
or the YouTube memberships. What we're going to do at the end of each podcast is have about an extra 10 to 20, maybe half an hour chat just about the future videos coming up. So if you guys also want to see some of that stuff, it's on the Patreon and YouTube memberships. This is the end of the podcast. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. We'll be back next week with a new topic, not being about my life.
No, we'll move on to different things. And this has been the Neighbours podcast, leaving with the new theme song. No, you can't sing it if you don't know it. No, I worked very hard on the ending. No. Go back. We want 10,000 comments on the first video. Go back to comments on the first video.
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.